This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked at a building where he was number 427. 427's job was simple. He sat at a desk in his room and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what 427 did of every day, of every month, of every year. And although others would have considered this boring, Stanley relished every moment of it, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. But then one day, something very peculiar happened, something that would forever change Stanley. He was sitting at his desk for an hour when he realized that not a single order arrived on his monitor. No one had showed up to hand him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never before in his life had this happened. Shocked, Stanley slowly regained his senses, stood up, and stepped out of the room. Everyone was gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to head towards the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Coming to a set of 2 doors, Stanley entered the door on his left. Approaching the meeting room, Stanley realized he had to enter the code to unlock the door. Unfortunately, he had forgotten that the code was 2487. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the meeting room. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to head to his boss's office. Stanley fell and everything went black. Never before in his life had this happened. Shocked, Stanley slowly regained his senses, stood up, and stepped out of the room. Everyone was gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to head towards the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Coming to a set of 2 doors, Stanley entered the door on his left. This wasn't the way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he just wanted to stop by the break area. Yes, truly a place worth admiring. It was really worth the detour after all, to see some tables in such a captivating place, despite the fact that all your co-workers disappeared. But eager to get back to business, Stanley walked to the meeting room. Approaching the meeting room, Stanley realized Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a bit with some calming new age music. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to head to his boss's office. Stanley fell and everything went black. Never before in his life had this happened. Shocked, Stanley slowly regained his senses, stood up, and stepped out of the room. Everyone was gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to head towards the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Coming to a set of 2 doors, Stanley entered the door. Stanley? Again? Do you really not trust me to be helping you, guiding you through a beautiful story I wrote? Here, let me prove it to you. Stanley opened the envelope marked A. Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley opened the envelope marked A. Stanley opened the envelope marked A. First letter of the alphabet. See? I truly do care about you. Now, let's get back to the story. Blah blah blah, there's nobody here. Boss's office, we get the drill. Hurry up, Stanley. We have to make up for lost time here. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to do, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there, doing sweet F.A. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around, doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least he would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me, because literally, this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you, this is somehow comedy gold. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Ow! Did you see the broom closet part? The broom closet part was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to the broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapse on the floor. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The actor in this video is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their role, making sure they understand basic film acting and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in storytelling, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this video is not lost on them. Alright, when you've done that, just step outside. Ah, understudy. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.